might just be a little big pen that was made in Hong Kong or in some little Indonesian island where everybody's dying of whatever they're dying of. And you're responsible because you bought that pen because they knew you were going to buy the pen. They went over there and hassled these people and bribed their leaders and drove the price of everything that they want to purchase and own, like just a little hut or a house, up to the point where their lives became absolutely miserable because of that big pen that you have in your hand there. And you were the one that did it. Your demand on their resources, which corrupted their leaders into allowing Western capitalist pigs to come over there and to predatorily hire their people for 2 cents an hour, starving people who didn't want to work for 2 cents an hour but were glad to get it because they couldn't get anything else, because our banksters demand that people become their slaves in order to loan them any money at all. All they want to do is to exploit them. They didn't want to help these people. Exploit, exploit, exploit. What the hell is that? Is that man's way? Is that America's way? Americans I know don't exploit anybody, but their leaders sure do, and they sure lie to them, and they allow the Zionists to own the newspapers and to lie to them in the newspapers. And yada, 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 yada. On and on and on. You need to think about these things. You may be like the people at Nuremberg. You may be called up to give an account for yourself while all of this was going on, all this exploitation. You may have to pay for this with your life. Or they may put you into some Spandau prison somewhere because of what your leaders did, and all they had to do is prove that you were profiting from it, and you did nothing whatsoever to stop it, so they came for you. And you say, well, I didn't know anything about it. Well, it's your duty to know about it. You couldn't have been buying all of these things from all these foreign nations without realizing that somebody there had to make them. And you never cared enough about them to look around to see if they were being paid a decent wage. So, if you have to die for that, well, you have to die for it. You'll be responsible. Because you can't exploit people that way. You can't allow people to do that to others so that you can get something for practically free. You know, if you decided that you were going to purchase child pornography in America or anywhere in the world, they'd come and get you and say you're promoting it because you bought it. So now you're going to tell me that it's okay for you to buy these foreign goods made by people who are turned into slaves? It's okay for you to do that? And you're not going to have to go to jail for it when these people ruined their lives and had their cultures destroyed by these folks who came in and built that crap that you put in your face? You're just as responsible as Hitler. In fact, you're even more responsible. Hitler didn't have the knowledge of the world that we have and that you have. Not at all. But you think that you're innocent of everything. Well, I can tell you right now, you're not innocent at all. You're guilty as can be. Absolutely guilty. Providing the aegis for these people to destroy a lot of parts of this world. And you may, like I say, you may have to pay with your life or with your freedom someday for all of the exploitation that you participated in by buying these things. You're no different than the guy that buys child pornography and is taken to jail for 10 years because it hurt the children. But you'll buy these goods that were built by children 7 and 8 years old in Indonesia and you think that you shouldn't go to jail. Well, you're the same as these child pornography peddlers and buyers. You're no different, buddy. You're no different. You bought stuff that children had to make. Children that were exploited. And they wouldn't have been exploited except people like you wanted them to make something for next to nothing for you. Well, what are you going to do when they come for you, huh? What are you going to do when they say, you can't do this, man. We're going to put you in jail for exploiting children. What are you going to do? You're going to go to jail. That's what you're going to do. You say, well, that's not going to happen to me. Well, I don't think that Rudolf Hess thought that anything was going to happen to him either. No. He thought that he would go free as soon as the war was over, and that's what Goering and the rest of them thought, and they probably should have, because we haven't heard the end of what they did or what they didn't do, because no one will allow us to investigate. Well, this part of town here used to be a real entertainment section. I got this theater here, the Fox Theater. Look at that sucker. Well, if you go inside there, you will see something. They've got all sorts of carvings all over the walls and the ceilings. And you know what? These capitalist pigs here, there's Third Baptist Church where I went to church. And my Sunday school was Congressman Dick Gebhardt. Oh, he was a good boy. There's the Symphony Hall. He was a good boy. And I guess by comparison, I was a bad boy. Because I certainly wasn't as good as Dick was. I would have killed myself first. I don't want to be that good. Hell with being that good. There's some things you just can't do in life, and being good is one of them, because being good can be a bore. Actually, I'm pretty good, actually. And I'm sure those of you who are listening to me today are good people too, but all these good people like yourself and me, well, we are guilty of exploiting these kids. We're building the things that we are using. They're even building the breadboards in your computer. Because the name of the game in capitalism is exploit the poor and feed the rich. And then allow the rich to take their money that they got from exploiting the poor and to give it to the government and steal your representation away by owning all of your representatives so that you're not free at all. You're not even here. You're blacklisted. You're gone. You're finished. You are a nothing. And that's just the way that it is. You're a total nothing, and you don't deserve a whole lot of pardon from the world, which you have helped to exploit by being the consumer who has created a demand for products that are made by child labor. You would think that if you went into a country to put a factory there, that you would at least try to make sure that the people in that country would at least get something out of their own exploitation other than debt. But that's about all they got. That's the Zionist bankster way. You go in, you start a bank, you go out and you survey the country. You spend billions of dollars surveying every piece of land until you get the exact location of it on the globe, and then you create little pieces of paper that correspond to those little pieces of property, and you put them into the county and city and state archives, and then when someone you want to screw over appears to own a piece of land that you want, you go down, you try to buy it from them, and if you can't buy it from them, what do? Well, you get the judge to take it from them.